Welcome back to Coffee, Config, and Chaos. I'm Jerry Wong.
And I'm Andrew Robinson. Today's guest brings energy, entrepreneurship, and community spirit to everything that he does.
So we have Harry Nijjar. He's the founder of Woodstock, a community accelerator for creator, brands, and entrepreneurs. He's passionate about building meaningful human connections and real life community energy.
But you might know him from his past role as a growth marketer in the ServiceNow partner space. But today he's channeling that same spark into building something bold and personal.
And Harry is known for being the most positive person in the room. And today we're excited to bring that energy into the chaos.
So let's jump in. Harry, welcome to the pod.
Jerry, Andrew, thank you so much for that introduction. I'm like so humbled to be here. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to be, in this episode. And when Jerry told me, obviously partnering with you, Andrew, to do this kind of content and the name, and I was like, yeah, I've got to be involved. And I was actually so surprised that Damien nominated me as well. I was really, I've got to give him a drink or a pint at some point and thank him for that.
Yeah, he spoke very highly of you, Harry, in terms of your inspiration and that. I think the positive impact you've made him feel, which we felt as well. So that's the reason why we got you on.
Amazing.
So Harry, we're gonna take this back. We're gonna ask you obviously a number of questions. But let's take it back. You grew up around your family business. How do you think that shaped your approach to work and connection?
Oh, family business. Yeah. If you think about it, when I was 4 years old, my parents, who had just normal jobs, dad working in Safeways as a marketing executive, mum working as a paralegal, both in normal London jobs, London life, me going to nursery. Then my parents just decided to uproot and come to Coventry to start a business or buy a business, actually. They bought a petrol station, post office, convenience store, video store, you name it, had everything in it. And it was on the corner. It was on the corner of a street. So it's a, typical Asian story of, but my parents actually, they didn't have much. They had zero money and just somehow got loads of debt or loans to buy that business and family support. So I just remember running around my parents' shop when I was four, annoying all the customers. And I lived and breathed their entrepreneurial journey from the age of four all the way actually to the age of 30 because they decided to buy a pub when I was 12, then another pub when I was 15. So we had three businesses at the same time. And I think what it gave me was this immense like feeling of work ethic and what it means to work hard and earn a living. And also there were three very community based businesses. So to be in the heart of the community and talk to everybody from all walks of life, I think that was something I take inspiration from now, and I even put it into my work today. All the work that I do, it's actually, if I look back, it was all from that foundation of working my family business and just enjoying not just working with family, but every day working with customers, living and breathing. Because we actually lived in those businesses as well. We didn't just live in a house and go to those. We actually lived in the shop, in the pub. So that was pretty cool. I look back with fondness. At the time, probably didn't enjoy it as much, but I look back now thinking, wow, that was cool.
Oh, I love that. Do you know what? It wouldn't be good if I lived in a shop. But then again, I don't know. I mean, from the age of, as a 4-year-old, I think it'd be great, like being out meeting new people. But sort of like maybe I'd get a bit of cabin fever. I mean, but maybe not from the age of 4. But what lessons from those early days still stick with you as a founder today?
I think, when you work with your family, like my dad, my mother, my brother, there was four of us. There's a 9-year age gap between me and my brother. But my parents had me quite young. They were like 22, 23 when I was born. So um, I feel like the biggest lesson I learned from family business or that kind of stuff is just communication. Like the level you need to be able to communicate with your family. They're not just co-workers, they're like your DNA, right? You're surrounded by your DNA. And that level of communication just needs to be even stronger. And you can get wrapped up in emotions, it gets fiery, you disagree, um, so you just learn a new layer of how to kind of influence people and work together. But I think there's nothing beats working with family. I mean, I think the level of trust that you have when you work with your parents and your brothers and siblings, like that trust is so strong. And actually, I think my career has been about recreating that trust with non-family members. Like, how do you do that with people you've just met and you're kind of building a rapport with? How can you get ultimate trust? How can you, just by looking at them and them looking at you, know exactly how you're feeling? Just by looking. Yeah, that level of like telepathy. And I think that's what I kind of think about and apply. And it's just this feeling of forever as well. Like, when you work in those kinds of, when you work for your own business, every decision you make is super long term. You're doing it. For example, if a customer comes in and says they haven't got their wallet, but they really need to they've just poured a full tank of petrol, but they forgot their wallet. And then you're like, don't worry, just come back tomorrow and sort us out. Or actually, don't worry, just, maybe they were flying to Australia and not going to be back for 2 weeks. And then you say to them, don't worry, just pay us when you come back because we trust you. So it's kind of, everything's built for long term. And that's what I love more than anything.
And would you say that's built up sort of like your level of trust in people?
Yeah, I'd say so. I always give trust up front.
Would you say people take advantage of that?
Oh, I don't know. I've always come across with the mindset of let's give trust up front to everyone. Yeah, there's this whole old school mindset, and I've seen it when I've been employed in jobs, that you have to earn trust. You have to earn your stripes. You have to, I can't give you the day off, or I can't give you until you earn it, right? Whereas I feel like, why don't I just give everything up front? I'll give you complete trust. I believe in you. Only when you do something that's maybe I don't agree with, we can have a chat about it, and I can try and understand from your point of view. We can try and figure out how this went in a certain way. But I think, when you give trust up front to people, they just work a billion times harder.
I love that.
Like, they really like buy into you, and like, it's just that sense of feeling. People just, it's the complete opposite to what the rest of the world does. And that's where I always want to be.
So it seems like you're doing things the opposite way to sort of like traditional business. So, for example, like what you said before, people earn the stripes. They have no trust when they start, and they build that over time. You're giving them full trust right at the very beginning, and if obviously they knock that trust, that's when things start to change, and you start to change your approach to things.
I think so. I think that served me well, to be fair, for the last, goodness knows, 6 years being self-employed, running my own business. 12 years before that in corporate world, and before that, working in family business. I just think, if you trust people up front, it just makes people, it just feels different. And there's different ways of doing it. There's different levels of trust. Like, for example, I could hire an intern and say to them, look, I want you to build a website for me from scratch, right? I want you, do your research, find out what platform, do this. I'm just going to give you this project, right? And come back to me when you're ready to show me something. And I'm just going to believe in them. Obviously, I would have had some insights into their background, and they would have presented some stuff to make me feel that, okay, this is comfortable.
Yeah.
So you do have to, I think I'm quite good at betting on people, understanding who I should work with based on interactions. I'm a big believer in energy. And Jerry will know this, but
I was about to say, Harry, when you say that, you're like the most positive person in the room, and and it's just that, is that energy that you give off. And it's been like, when, I don't know whether you remember watching Japanese anime film, kind of the series where it was a character with like aura kind of, kind of go bursting out you. But it just feels like that when you're around people, you give people that energy. And again, Harry, I've known you for a year now. I think that's since we kind of met. And I mean, when we met, was it in Vegas at Knowledge?
Yes,
24.
yes.
And we were like, even before, actually, we haven't even met in person or actually spoken to each other. And we were just WhatsApping each other, even through
Yes,
that.
we were.
That was really weird, but it was just felt like we could just very naturally, comfortably talk to each other. Then we met each other in person, and it was just, we got on really well. And obviously, then finding out that you lived in the same city as me, it was like, Wow, what are the odds of that, right? So yeah.
No, I take your point. Like, I think energy. I've always had. I think I give it credit to my parents, right? They kind of put a lot of positive energy into me and a lot of love, and I had a really kind of strong, kind of family life. And I feel like, I've got a wife and 3 kids now, age 9, 7. My life is so good. Like my home life is so solid and so reliable and so stable. And I feel like that gives me the power source, if you like.
Yeah.
And also, that energy, I think, because I've met so many people, like I've met, like through my dad's shops and pubs, I must have met 10,000 people or 20,000, like so many people I've met. And I took so much inspiration from different stories. Even you, Jerry, even you, Andrew, when I meet you, I kind of try and absorb your story, bring it into my own, and then try and carry that energy into the next conversation or into the next meeting. I kind of just try and latch on to everyone. And kind of someone described me as a butterfly, actually. They said, Harry, you just like flutter around and, you're kind of like, and it's true, like put me in a room with nobody and I'm as quiet as anything. But put me in a room with like-minded people, you will not shut me up. I will, I'll be like all over the place. So I think energy is, energy is so important. Like going at the world with the right energy. I actually, on the positive front, on the LinkedIn it says most positive person in the room.
Yeah.
I gave myself that title because I think that everyone, particularly in the corporate world, if you go into every situation thinking I'm going to be positive, right? And you take that almost aggressive, offensive like strategy of optimism as a strategy, nothing can actually shake you then. Like, for example, you go into a room and say your client says, we're firing you. We don't think you're good at your job. Or, the worst thing in the world could happen. But because you went in there with a positive mind front, your energy then almost looks at it in such a positive way that it's like, no worries. That's absolutely fine. I can deal with that. Yeah. So it's almost gearing your body up in the right way to absorb challenges. And I think that's where attention goes, energy flows. Someone said that to me recently. So if your attention is on the positive, that's where your energy will go.
Money, you
Wow.
feel that. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Harry, obviously within the ServiceNow space or ServiceNow community, I think you've actually gone from working with some of the biggest enterprise names. I think for example like Flyform, but also to actually launching Woodstock. I would love to hear your story about Woodstock and give people your vision of obviously what made you make that leap.
Yeah. So, I think as we touched on earlier, like family business, Harry at the age of 4 lived and breathed his family's entrepreneurial journey. And I feel like that was always inside me. It actually put me off entrepreneurship when I saw how hard my parents had to work and obviously worked with them. I was like, let me just get a job. Let me just get a degree, go to uni, get a degree, get a job. And that's what I did. I kind of like never really had aspirations of starting my own business because the almost put off by it, by just, just how hard it was, just how my parents just literally just worked from 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night every day without a break, without a holiday. So missing family functions left, right, and center, weddings, parties, all of it, so much sacrifice. So what happened was when I went to 12 years of my career in marketing, I suddenly started to see, look, there's some things wrong here. Like we're using, and particularly what really got me going was like we'd work with agencies and they wouldn't do a particularly good job. And I was like, why? Why are these agencies not doing a good job for us or clients? Like, and I kind of got the feeling that what if Harry started his own agency? What would happen then? What if I took all this corporate knowledge of 12 years working in marketing and then also took my family knowledge of family business, which had a lot of heart in that business, right? Obviously, the head's in the corporate, the heart's in the family. What if I merge them together and try and make an amazing agency where we service a client in a way where they get the maximum value, right? They get everything they need. And in some cases, I was thinking, oh, when I build an agency, maybe people that work for me will then start working for the client. They'll just go get a job with them. I was just thinking so differently. I was like, most agencies had hundreds of clients. I was like, maybe if I have 3 and look after them so deep and do something so different. So Woodstock really was like when I launched it in 2019, I was working at SCC, a large reseller and managed service provider, and basically, at SCC, I'd obviously done a bit in ServiceNow. I'd launched SCC ServiceNow practice back in between 2017 and 2019, and then that work had led to some other partners in the space. You named Flyform. They reached out to, well, I started my own business. They reached out to me and said, Harry, can you support us? So then I started working with them, and they actually were the first client I signed for Woodstock. Flyform were the first client. So, and then I spent, even to this day, from now 2019 to even today, working closely with Phil Davis, who's their CEO. But just that was an amazing experience. And on top of that, I just started winning more clients. What happened was, actually, guys, imagine 12 years of experience doing an amazing job for those different companies. Then those companies realizing you've gone independent. And then because you did such a good job for them in the past, they reach out to you to say, Harry, we've just seen that you've gone independent. Can you come do some stuff for us? It's almost like I monetized my history, but I didn't anticipate that happening. But that was just because I'd just done a good job in all those places and always built those bridges and never burned bridges. So yeah, it's been a journey. 6 years in, someone said to me, after 2 years, 95% of businesses die. For me, it was never going to die. It was always going to be like, I was always going to be here. And Woodstock it's actually, to take your point about the future, it's actually moving now. So I've been doing a lot of agency work, working with different brands, particularly in the technology space. But now it's moved full circle where historically I go at brands. I go and work on site. But now what I'm doing is building my own entrepreneurial building. Woodstock's going to become a physical building where brands, technology brands, retail, commercial, whatever you want to call them, they'll come into the building. Entrepreneurs will come into the building. And it's somewhere where it's just built for entrepreneurial DNA. Like there'll be a bar, a pub, just like my history. I'll have a pub there where I'll be doing live streaming and podcasting. In the second floor or third floors, there'll be co-working spaces, a bit like WeWork. And then in the upper floors, there'll be residences. So just like I worked in my pub and lived in my pub and socialized in my pub, I'm going to create that again. And it's going to be called Woodstock. And it's going to be built for people that are innovators, people that think outside the box. Just like you two, you guys started this from scratch. You are the absolute perfect people to be in Woodstock. I want 100 of you in the building, right? Spreading that kind of creative vibe and like, why not? Why don't we try this? What can happen? It's that kind of mindset where negativity doesn't exist and you can just make anything happen. And recently I wrote a 27-page document, which is my vision document, which I'm sharing with Coventry City Council, West Midlands Combined Authority, the University of Warwick, which is my neighbour. I'm on the edge of campus, so they're my neighbour. So just getting a lot of feedback at the moment, but the objective is get planning for a 9-story building for entrepreneurs, get the planning this year, start building it in 2026, and then open the doors in 2027. And that's going to be, that's such an exciting thing for me, because I think it's going to not just power existing brands, but also build a ton of new ones.
That's fantastic. Do you know what? I don't really know many companies or businesses, for that matter, who would do the things which you're planning on doing. So I have to take my hat off to you on that respect. I mean, but obviously it can't all be plain sailing, can it? I mean, what would you say has been the biggest surprise or challenge in building a community-led brand compared to corporate life?
I think community-led brands are interesting because when you go community first, like for example, there are 100 people in my community at the university, well, next door to the University of Warwick on the edge of campus. I've kind of started building community, and Jerry's part of that community. He's been involved in lots of events that I've done, bringing different entrepreneurs to campus, marketing, technology, all kinds of different profiles. And community-driven stuff is, you're kind of like doing it for the audience, right? You're not really selling. I'm not selling anything. I'm just saying I want to bring like-minded people together, right? I don't actually own the community. I just serve it, right? I'm just kind of like, if you think about students right now, there's 3 clear things. There's 30,000 students on campus and they want 3 things. They want to network with each other. They want to upskill and they want to get a job. So every event that I do is designed for them to meet each other, which they might not have met through the content, and they've seen, oh, Harry's doing something entrepreneurial. I like entrepreneurship. I should go to that. Or Harry's brought this amazing guest, and I like that guest. I should go to that. So there's something around the networking piece. Then on the upskilling piece, when we're working with entrepreneurs and brands, I'm asking those brands, what's your biggest challenge right now? And then I'm saying to the students, does anyone want to tap that challenge right now with me? Should we just go after it? Like, they've just said what they need to solve. Why don't we do it right now in the next 2 hours together? Right? And then they love that bit. And then what happens is that brand or company or CEO sees that student and says, you know what? I really love what you did. Do you fancy coming to our office for the day? Do you fancy coming for a week? How about we give you a job? Do you see that? So really, all I'm trying to do is just serve, be of service. And I think that is a bit like when I was in my dad's pub or shop or parents. Like, I think there's a huge power when you be of service. And I just love it and I enjoy it so much.
Remind me of like a matchmaker.
It's a bit like
you're like one of the
like
what was it? Is it St. Valentine?
Yeah, it's a bit like that. I think what happens with me is I see capability in people, and they don't even see it themselves. Like, someone will come to me, and they'll be like, Harry, like, I really want to get a job in this, that, and the other. I've applied 100 places, got rejected, and I'm just like, just tell me your story. Just tell me who you are. What's unique about you? Just give it to me. They give me that story, and then I replay it back to them, and I'll be like, this is what I see. Okay, and this is where I think you could go. And this is why I think that. Yeah. And then they're like, that's really interesting. No one's actually said that to me before. And then I'm like, okay, so now I've given you that. Let's go at this game in a different way. Right. So I just think it's just the way you see life and the way you see challenges. And so it's a bit of matchmaking, but it's a little bit of like soul searching and just giving people belief in something. Like, I meet a lot of students, particularly international ones. And what's interesting about them is they've come here to study for a year or 3 years, spending a ton of money here. Some of it's their parents' money, some of it's they've made it themselves abroad, then bring it here. And then they're kind of like going back home when they've got 2 years to really get some more experience here, right? They all can get a graduate visa. And I'm like, just spending half an hour with them, I can get them to do two things: start applying for a job and start a business so they can stay here. And one of the key things I want is the best talent to stay right here. I don't want it to leave. You know, that's kind of another part of it too. So it's interesting. It's challenging. People don't completely understand what I'm doing. There's a little bit of misunderstanding, but I'm happy to start navigating through that as we go along.
So Harry, we all talk about confidence, and for me, you clearly show that you've got a lot of confidence. But I think in terms of what you've built in, the public, you've taken risks. Again, you've stayed open. But how do you keep your head up when chaos? I can't even say the word, but when chaos hits you. Yeah.
When chaos hits you, how do you keep your head up? It's interesting, right? Like, I've had this reflection recently. So, just made loads of documents about Woodstock, this 9-story building with, kind of like, not, it's never, no one, I don't think anyone's ever come up with this before. Most people, they either build a pub, they build a WeWork office kind of co-working thing, and they build like residences. No one mashes the three things together. So obviously I've been pitching this to lots of different people. And what's really funny is the feedback I've been getting, particularly the negative feedback, has really hit me in a way that even has shaken my confidence, right? It's even shaken me. And I'm normally quite unshakable. Like, no one can really like shake my inner core in that way. And I think it's because the stakes are really high for me, right? For me, it's a big vision and I really want to make it happen at whatever cost. Even if it kills me, I think I'm just going to make it happen. So I think when the stakes are high, that's when it's a true test of your character and your belief. And I think it's about, the key thing is just surrounding yourself with the right people, surrounding yourself with people that support you, people that encourage. I'm lucky that I have that in my life with lots of different people. And yeah, if you've got that, then I think you're on a winning path. If you haven't got that, it's about finding those people. It's about literally finding people that share your vision, and they don't have to support you financially, but they can support you in a kind of like mental state, right? And just keep you grounded. And also, I think it's about gratitude. Like, I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to do it, right? Like, I'm grateful that I've got a vision like this, and I'm grateful I've got the chance to actually go after it. I think if I just keep centered on that, everything else will be fine. Like, it might not end up being 9 stories, it might be 4, right? But I'm going to go after the 9 because I just think it's worth it. Because when people drive past it, they'll be like, what is that building? And then when they see the pub, they'll be like, can we go inside that? And then they go inside that, and then they'll meet me. That's the whole concept. And then even what's funny is, what's even so interesting about this idea is that I recently went to my brothers went to Loughborough Uni. I went to Warwick, but he went to Loughborough. And I was sitting next to the dean of the business school for Loughborough because my brother was getting an Alumni of the Year award, really prestigious award. And I started sharing this with her, the dean, and she was like, Harry, that's an amazing idea. Why don't you do that at Loughborough? I'm sure we'd give you the space. I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Because my vision was always just do it at Warwick, never to do it anywhere else. But then, just talk to the right people. I've realised actually once I do it here, Woodstock will launch in different places. There'll be a London version. There'll be a European version. There'll be one in America. Actually, it'll be all over the place. I've just got to get this first one done first, that's been a recent revelation, just by talking to people and just kind of sharing the idea.
You describe yourself as a positive force. Now, nobody's emotions are a steel trap. So what helps you stay the way that you do during the tough days? Because everybody has tough days. You know what? I'm
Yes,
not.
they do.
I mean, I think me and Jerry are having one today. So, what makes you stay so positive?
You know what? I feel like there's 2 worlds, isn't there? There's the home life and the work life. And at home, it's completely different. Like, at home, emotions are high. Got 3 kids screaming the house down. My wife is under pressure. There's just so much stuff to do at home. Crazy life. But I think I don't think anything can faze me in work. Like, work is just, compared to home, compared to family, work is a walk in the park. Like, talking to you guys now is a walk in the park, right? I'm just like so grateful to be here and so like enthused and happy and positive. It's all coming from a really like rich, positive place. So really, in the work world, I'll always be that positive energy and that force. I'll always be saying, like, if someone says to me, Harry, I'm going out of business tomorrow and I've got no chance of survival, I'll be like, wait there, let's just walk through it. Tell me what, and I'll just keep digging, and I will find that chink of positivity, and I will smash it into whatever it needs to be. Right. So I'll always find those angles. I think that's my strength. Finding an angle that it doesn't exist, and I find it.
That's brilliant. Yeah, to be honest, when it comes down to, I mean, most people deal with things differently, but that's a really good way to look on things. I mean, it seems to work for you, so yeah, definitely carry on.
I mean, I imagine it annoys some people. It doesn't work with everyone. They're probably just sick of me talking, sick of my smiles. And actually, I think it's just having empathy, right? I think the key is, for me, just really empathize with your colleagues and your friends. Like, you'll never know exactly what's going on in their lives, but just be there and just kind of listen, and then adapt accordingly, right? Like, not everyone's going to tell you the truth about their lives, but it doesn't matter. Just work with what you've got.
I mean, Harry, you're right, because I mean, you give an example. When I drive to work and people are driving, you think, okay, why are they driving like that? Maybe like a hard time, and you just don't know. You think, oh, they're just driving crazy or driving road rage, but maybe something's happened in their personal life that they're just dealing with it, and again, like you said, having that positivity and really kind of thinking, right, okay, maybe they are having a bad time, and can't assume that they're road raging for some strange reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of saying it from my mind and my perspective, but yeah, it's a strange one.
No, it's cool. I mean, I'll give you an example, like in terms of, so I'm this vision that I'm building of this building, and I keep going back to it. There are more people that don't want that building to be built than there are that want it built. And when I think about it, and I think why, there is something deep within those people that
Mm,
that building causes offense to, and I have to be empathetic to that, right? I can't be angry about it. I've got to
yeah,
empathize, and
yeah.
then I've got to adjust. Yeah, I've got to figure out what message will land with them, right? Rather than give up, I've got to get all these people on board one by one. So yeah, same in life. I think you can't always please everyone. You will
Mm,
get annoyed. People will annoy you. It's inevitable, right? But just stay true to yourself and stay authentic. And just go from there.
thanks, Harry. Harry, I think in earlier you talked about that community feeling, and again, this question I want to ask you is, what does real community mean to you? Kind of beyond those followers, and also, you go to a number of events as well, but what does real community actually mean to you?
You know what? I think I've built a small community in the last 6 or 12 months for Woodstock, and it's going to grow and grow and grow. I know that for a fact. And I think at the core of what it is, it's actually just caring. It's like a level of care. That's what I think community is. It's like you care about people, you care about lives more than you care about yourself. I think that's what it boils down to. I'll give you an example because I'm a another aspect of which I think will be contextual and be useful is, so I'm a Sikh. My religion is Sikhism, and if you ever go to a Sikh temple, right, they're all communities, right, run like of people that come together, and
Mm,
they're all volunteers. And you go to, and when you first go into the temple, the first thing you see is the langar hall, which is the kitchen. And in the kitchen, there's all these volunteers making food, and all the food has been donated by the community. And so you can go in there, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and get fed completely for free, right? Then you can go upstairs. Obviously, you take your shoes off, your socks off, you cover your head, and you can obviously, you know, go upstairs and pray. So for me, it's like that sense of everyone coming together and everyone giving without any expectation of return. That is what it's about. Whereas we live in a world where if I give you something, I expect something back,
yeah.
right? And that's unfortunately that mindset.
Yeah,
You go into some negative spirals with that. You're always going to lose in that mindset,
Yeah.
always. Whereas if you go in with I'm going to give everything I've got with zero expectation, that completely changes everything. And then what you'll find, what happens is randomly things will happen to you, and you'll be like, oh, how did that happen? And it's just because of that mindset that you had originally.
Yeah.
Like you did something so good, someone off the back of that. Do you know how many people have referred me in the ServiceNow ecosystem? People have said to partners, "You need to go speak to Harry." Someone said we're really struggling with like new business, new logo acquisition, and people have said, "You know what? You need to speak to Harry." And then I'll get a message on LinkedIn, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I'd love to meet you." And I'll be like asking them, "How did you find out about me?" "Oh, someone told us." Turns out that's an ex SEC colleague. That's an ex Flyform colleague. That's an ex. It's like it's just if you live in that way, you'll always have abundance.
exactly.
Well,
Because mouth is the even today, word of mouth is the most powerful advertising tool. Like honestly, there's nothing better than it.
Nothing better. Nothing better at all. And I think this is where it boils down to. We live in such a technology-led world, right? And I'm telling everybody I meet, particularly students and stuff, I'm like, even me, I'm like, how do we lean into more of our humanity? Right? Let's be more human in an AI world where AI is decoding our language and trends and kind of predicting what we're going to do. Why don't we be human and why don't we be unpredictable? How about that?
So, talking about being human, I just want to talk about authenticity. So, how do you balance growing a brand and still staying true to your values?
It's a really good question. I mean, for me, if I think about the Harry, the personal brand, and Woodstock, the company brand, the two are very much the same. The two vehicles are the same. Like there is no difference. what people will experience in Woodstock and what they will experience with Harry is exactly this. And that's because the business is small right now, right? The business is small. I can tailor those experiences, those events, the buildings, one building with 9 floors, everything can be architected that way. It's when you scale it up, when I start to employ 10, 50, 100 people, how will they give the experience that Harry, how can I, everything we just spoken about now in terms of mindset, how to approach life, how to do, how to give and not expect, like, how can I then brainwash everyone in my company to then be the same? That's the only way that brand will scale, right? It's the only way. Like, it's like me telling someone in my marketing department, you know what, you're going to go meet a brand today, and I want you to give them the best ideas we've got. Just give them away for free. Not every other company charges, like a consultancy fees and time. Just give them everything we've got. All right. And then come back and tell me what happens. And they'll be like, Harry, we should charge for that. Like, no, I don't want to charge them. Just go.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Why don't you invite them for dinner at Woodstock on Tuesday? And then we'll ask them to tell, and then they can tell us some stuff. And then we can solutionize. And in that meeting back at Woodstock, that's where we'll close something. Yeah, like it's just let's just give, and then off the back of that, I know the rest takes care of itself.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, love the
And even if
energy.
they don't, like, and what's funny, I've had this situation where I've given all my, in lots of meetings with clients, with partners, particularly ServiceNow ones, not even ServiceNow ones, like agnostic partners that do all kinds of service management tools. I've given away my best ideas. And I've seen it where they do not then engage with Woodstock or me. They go and do them themselves. And I'm happy about that. I actually love that when that happens, because it tells me I'm onto something here. Like, that's really cool. And guess what? I'm of the opinion of, okay, they didn't buy into me now, but in a year's time, or in 5 years' time, or in 10 years' time, if they come back, that was off the basis of that first initial thing. So it's also how you view windows of time. If your ROI is like a month or 6 months, how about you try a year? How about you try 10 years for your ROI? Then what happens? Then you start seeing the world in a completely different way.
That's pretty powerful, Harry. I have different perspectives of that value, isn't it? It's about how you can make a difference to people's lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So, Harry, obviously we talked a lot about you and work and building your brand. But what do you actually do when you're not building, connecting, or creating? But what brings you joy offline?
Well, the biggest joy in my life is my family. I've spent the last 15 years. I got married when I was 25. Funny story about that. I met my wife online when it was taboo. Like, I told my friends I met my wife on a dating website, not dating app, dating website. And they're like, "What's wrong with you? Why couldn't you meet someone in your dad's pub? It was all like." And now everyone's on there 24/7, like it's Chris. And so then, met my wife when I was 24, got married when I was 25, and we've had 15 years together, 3 amazing children, amazing family home we've built, and a lot of my life is engaged in that, like just looking after them. And my kids are really serious footballers. They're 9 and 7, my 2 boys, and they play football religiously. They're playing in tier 1, really high, just below academy. I've had some academy trials, so I'm supporting them in their journey. Every day they say to me, "Daddy, we want to be footballers. We want to be Premier League footballers." And I'm like, the chances are really low, but why don't we go for it? Why don't we go for it? And I know for a fact with that that they're going to stay fit, they're going to get leadership skills, they're going to get all that other stuff, which is great. My daughter, she's 5, and she's the most amazing singer, actress, performer you've ever seen. We took her to the West End, a show called The Wicked recently in London, and she loved it, like singing. And I was like, "You're going to be on that stage," I told her. I'm telling a 5-year-old, "You're going to be on a West End stage singing," and she's like, "Yeah." So you're almost planting these ideas in your kids' heads. And what's interesting for me is that, and this is something I'll share with you and your audience, part of the reason, this is a legacy reason of why I'm so committed to Woodstock and the 9-story building, is that when it's built in 2027, my children will be in there serving. They'll be in the bar, they'll be in the cafe, and they'll be in the co-working, the residents, and they'll be serving every single person in that building. And I want to give them exactly what my parents gave me, that sense of community, that sense of serving others, because that's the only way it's going to happen. You know, instead of playing Fortnite, instead of being on the PlayStation when they come home from school, they'll be there serving the coffee, right? And they'll be there listening to stories of entrepreneurship, and that will inspire them to do something. Yeah. Instead of like watching YouTube, they'll be making YouTube. That's what I want for them. And so it's all locked into that. Almost family and work life are actually converging and coming a lot closer together. They're slightly separate at the moment, but you know, in a couple of years' time, they'll be locked in together, and one will be very much inside the other. In a good way, hopefully. Hopefully they won't kill me for it. It'll be for their benefit, even if they don't think it at the time.
Harry, are there any unexpected hobbies or daily rituals that keep you grounded?
Jerry knows this one. So I've got a misspent youth playing pool, the Q Sport version. So me and Jerry played some pool, and I used to run my dad's pool team for years and years. Then we leased a pub about a few years ago during COVID, and now, you know, I got invited back to play for pool. So I play a lot of pool. There will be a pool table in Woodstock. Anybody watching this podcast, you're more than welcome to challenge me for a game. I'll tell you what, if you beat me, I'll give you 20 quid. We can have some wages on it. No problem. That'll be quite interesting, wouldn't it? People come to play me for 20 quid each time to see if they can make some money. So play a lot of pool.
Oh, but I can't guarantee any good.
He's good. He's good, Andrew. He's good. I play pool with Harry, and I think I get to the point where sometimes I'm losing round after round. I was like, but keep that positivity up. I'm going to beat him one of these games.
We can't leave the pool table until he at least beats me once. So we just keep going until that happens. So that's pretty cool. But no, I think hobbies, again, it'll be like running a pub. Like, I think at some point, my future is just Harry will want to run several pubs all over the world simultaneously. They will all be called Woodstock, and they just so happen to be pubs that entrepreneurs go to and where they build businesses. That's effectively and that's my hobby is going to become my work, effectively. So yeah, I've got a lot of interests, like Formula One, like football, like sport. I'm into everything basically, which helps then when you meet people because you can talk about everything.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wow, Harry, thanks for sharing all. You know, we've asked you a number of questions, but thank you for sharing that. Really, kind of, that honesty and that different perspectives of your family life and the way that your family values and you brought up. So I really appreciate you sharing that. We're going to go into our next round, which is next part, which is a quick fire round, and we call it chaos mode. So normally we have some jazzy music and stuff like that. But so me and Andrew will ask you, one kind of line, and then what's first thing that comes to mind, really. So I'll start off first. Coffee or tea?
Neither, really. I don't drink coffee or drink tea, but if I have to choose, I'll choose a coffee, but cold with ice. Something cold.
Cool.
Business book or memoir?
I think memoir would be quite cool.
Most used emoji?
I've got like the heart where I like curl it like this, like two hands in a heart. I send that out quite a lot.
Yeah.
One thing that you wish you'd learned 5 years ago?
Be even more patient than you already are. I am already patient, but just go to the next level of patience.
I love it. Yeah. Favorite creator or content right now?
I've always been a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah, I've been following his career for a long time, and he's built a massive agency, like 200 million like revenue business. Like, I always find his insights really fascinating. Interestingly, he grew up in a family business, and his dad had a wine store. So similarities, and he was kind of an immigrant and then went into America, a bit like my family moved to the UK from India. So I always resonate with his content.
Pizza or noodles?
Pizza, come on. It's got to be pizza.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Always.
Best place you ever traveled?
You know what? I'm going to say this. I went to Abu Dhabi a couple of years ago with my family, and we went to somewhere called Yas Island, Abu Dhabi.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
did did some work out there for a client for the actual Yas Island, and took the family with me, and we went to Ferrari World, Sea Life, the Water World. Like, it's another world. The whole thing. Like, we went indoor skydiving. I drove a Formula 3 car around the Abu Dhabi track. Like, the whole place is like Disneyland on steroids. I think Disneyland's going to be built there soon now as well. That's on the card. So it's like the most amazing. It's not cheap, but the most amazing place.
Brilliant. And finally, ChatGPT or handwritten journal?
Oh my God. I'm going to give it to ChatGPT at the minute. I think I've been using a lot of ChatGPT recently. It's helping me. Like, it's giving me planning advice. It's giving me like all these different angles. Like, I don't think that I can actually say the 9-story building, at least 50% of that will be because the world has come towards it. Like, technologies like ChatGPT enable me to make a 9-story building.
Mm.
Like, without that, I'd have to pay so many other people, right? The money I can't afford, right? But I'm leveraging that. So, but then going forwards, hopefully I can go more into written notepad. Hopefully, I still think that's super important to get your thoughts down on paper and retention and memory.
No, definitely. So, this brings us to a segment called Brew It Forward. So, before we wrap things up, we got our Brew It Forward segment. So, who's someone in your journey, community, tech, or personal, that deserves a shout out?
Oh, there's so many people in this, particularly in the ServiceNow community. I'm gonna shout out someone really special to me. Actually, he's someone like, obviously, becoming an entrepreneur, being self-employed, starting your own business. You know, there was one person that inspired me massively towards it, and it's a gentleman called Phil Davis. He is the CEO and founder of Flyform, and I met Phil in 2019, and we started working together on Flyform's content marketing. It was really funny actually, because when I met him, I was just so amazed with his story and his background of of what he'd gone through to start a business and be so successful. Like, and when I met him and I met all the other Flyformers, it's like he'd brainwashed them into and they were all the same. Like, everyone was just amazing, and I think he'd be an amazing person for you to interview. He's doing some amazing things at Flyform. They don't just measure the impact of their ServiceNow solutions in terms of revenue and stuff. They actually measure the impact on humans that are on the platform. Like, recently, they've done some amazing work with NGOs, which I think it would be awesome for him to talk about. And yeah, like, from an entrepreneurial perspective, like, he's just going to blow you away with how he thinks and what he does. And a lot of actually Woodstock's DNA is credit to Phil.
You heard it here first, Phil. We'll be sending you a message pretty soon.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Phil.
Amazing.
Okay, Harry, thanks for being real, also that reflective, and really kind of bring your full energy to this episode. So really appreciate it.
Thanks for being real, reflective, and bringing your full energy to this episode. Do you know what? It has been a genuine pleasure.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you so much, Jerry. Really appreciate you. You guys have done, with this format, you're doing amazing things, and I can't wait to watch future episodes and support you guys with this amazing initiative. Like, I can't wait to see episode 100 when it gets there.
Well, Harry, I think your journey is getting started as well, and I think we're all going to be cheering you on. And me and Andrew, we definitely going to be coming to visit you at Woodstock, coming down to the pub, playing a game of pool, and getting that £20 wager on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what's really interesting? I'm already visualizing it now. The next episode we do will be either yours or mine. It could be Woodstock one. It'll be in that bar area, live, and we'll have an audience as well in the room. We'll get that done. Absolutely.
Deal.
Can't wait.
That's fine. So if this conversation gave you something to think about, share it, tag it, and brew it forward.
And that's it for this episode of Coffee, Config, and Chaos. We will catch you next time.
See everyone soon.
See you later. Take care.